That's right. It's the UAP, aka Uncovering Anomalies Podcast, episode 50. And for a very special treat as a special treat for our listeners and us, we're doing this live.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm really
very
nervous
because, as we've discussed in nearly every episode, we've got severe mic phobia where we can't remember a single name of anything when the mics are in front of our faces.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. I mean, even like famous podcasters and researchers, like just complete blank.
Who's that guy, the king of rock and roll? He danced really funny. His name it starts with an E, I think. Anyway.
I don't know if you're like me, but I was a terrible test taker. And because this same thing would happen to me, where like once a test starts, like a final exam kind of thing, I just blank. Completely blank.
Performance anxiety. So what's bizarre to me is I had the same thing on tests, and then especially when I get like the professor, teacher, whatever marks it and gives it back to you so you can look and see what you screwed up. I mean, like, how do I know this? How did I screw this up? But what's the funny part is so I had performance anxiety on tests, but anytime I'd have to do a presentation, I would just nail it. I would just black out and go into the zone. And then I'd always get really good grades on presentations. Like, you just have to stand up in front of the class or group or whatever and talk. I can do that, which is weird because I'm not a big speech kind of person. I guess when I have stuff to say, it's easier. Like when I know what I'm going to say. If I'm going off the cuff, forget about it.
Yeah, kind of like what we're doing now, right? This is our first live stream. Well, it should be okay. I mean, we basically now just record what we do, right? And then we don't edit anything and we upload it. So it's pretty much the same thing.
It's pretty much the same thing. So anyway, to get us off and going, that is I Want to Believe Adam.
Yes.
And
nice to meet you, bro.
Tippity toppity Topher live.
You're live, yes.
I had to put it in the name.
I noticed. I'm like, oh, that's why it's so long. Tippity toppity Topher.
And I want to thank my co-host, I Want to Believe Adam, for taking the vast majority burden of digging up articles and stuff this week. As we were discussing before we got recording here, I was trying to stay off my phone and away from technology, kind of clear my head before I head back to my daily grind starting tomorrow.
It's important. I do have a side project where I'm trying to think of ways how to counteract the bad effects of social media, right? Especially on the youth, not on us, because we have or supposedly have the tools to put it down or counteract that. But yeah, that's the story for another day. We are here today to talk about UAP and UFOs and just, the anomalies on this mysterious planet.
And boy, is it ever mysterious.
Last week
gets more and more mysterious.
Yeah, and last week we called it catastrophic disclosure because if you tuned in last week, the government shut down the UAP Disclosure Act. I'm sure our followers and listeners know about this, and we were dealing with that issue all last week too, so we can go through there. Although, maybe we should start with something comedic. Christmas is next week, and there's been some really funny stuff going around, especially with AI, what AI can do, right, with voices and images, and it's a crazy world out there, and like the content people can generate from AI for just a fraction of the cost of what it used to is so impressive. You want to start with some of these?
Of course, let's get going.
All right, here is Claus Schwab. I guess it's a very Schwab Christmas or Wef Christmas. Let's see.
Hello, my name is Claus the Situation Schwab. This Christmas, cuddle up with your loved ones while you enjoy a delicious holiday feast of new ferns and crunchy crickets, and pop in a very special collection of songs. The World Enslavement Forum presents Waxmas Hits 23. I'm dreaming of a great reset, like communism, just in smart. With gene selection and eye detection and tone surveillance everywhere. Last COVID, I gave you my chat, but for every new stash, you had to refresh. This year, a new pandemic is here. Get ready for forced injection.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. And there's a bunch of these showing up, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's well. Oh good boy, here's another one.
This was a great one too.
You heard Klaus McSchwab's first 2 records.
Vaccines back, all right. You know nothing and be happy.
But this one is gonna make your modified mRNA tingle. Time Lies presents Greatest Schwabs, Volume 15. A New World Order in Music.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the unvaccinated are still alive. A little bit of Pfizer in my arm. A little bit of BioNTech does no harm. A little Johnson does the trick. A little AstraZeneca so you don't get sick. It's booster number 5. Let's talk about Rex, baby. Let's talk about Dr. G. Let's talk about all the weird and countless side effects, maybe. Let's talk about Rex. Let's talk about Rex a little. Come and take the 7th shot. The 7th shot.
Oh my god. And there are so many of these, by the way.
So it's my opinion that the internet has definitely gotten much worse over the past decade, 15 years. But the memes, oh man, especially with the help of AI, have just gotten, oh man, they're good.
Yeah, AI is changing so many things and so quickly. I mean, did you hear about that one AI? It's an open project where the AI figured out stable materials, like brand new materials.
Yeah, we talked about this last week actually on the show.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just and it's an open project, so that I didn't know about that. Anyone can join, and you can investigate those materials. And you can, I think, patent them if you put them in certain, ways. You can, and it's open to everyone. So that's just insane to think about. I mean, it's gonna be a crazy world in about 5 years.
Yeah, right in time for 2030.
Yeah, and that's why what's coinciding with this, the UAP UFO Disclosure Act. So this came out recently from the Roswell Daily Records. Did Congress dump coal in our stockings? So it's basically talking about how, this effort the community has been at for decades, basically, right, has culminated into this UAP Disclosure Act. And as we discussed last week, it was mostly all thrown out. Even after they passed the NDAA, Congress and the Senate. So this guy's saying, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, once again, the intelligence, whether it's a committee or community, whatever they're calling it, got their sticky little fingers in there and just ruined everything, as they always do.
Yeah, power, you can't hide power. So basically, so the NDAA will replace the civilian UAP Records Review Board with congressional oversight, democratizing the eventual disclosure process. So they're saying, true, getting Congress to commit to transparency is a tough hill to sled. Still, we'll have more powerful levers to pull through issue advocacy. Return congressional oversight, rogue black projects. Oh, this is what it tried to do. I'm sorry. Oh no, they were replacing it. So returns congressional oversight of rogue black budget SAPs long hidden from Congress's constitutional purviews, and reinstalls a check on the executive branch's departments, including the vast intelligence community and the military-industrial complex under the Department of Defense. I mean, but we know it didn't really help transparency.
Yeah, and the cynic in me, I mean, even if they had passed exactly what they had wanted to, I don't think anything truly would have changed.
And we are cynics, and we were discussing that when it was happening. We're saying, because they were basing it on the JFK Disclosure Act, right? And do we know who did it?
I know who did it.
Who did it?
My neighbor.
What's his name?
Frank. He brags about it all the time.
Oh, okay. Oh, that neighbor. Okay, now I know who you're talking about. Okay.
I shot JFK. I'm an alien. I'm actually from China. And he's like the whitest guy I've ever seen. It's crazy. He's a very strange character.
But I mean, just to be serious, the JFK Disclosure Act got nothing. It didn't do anything. So for Schumer to sit there and say, "Yeah, we're basing it on the JFK Disclosure Act and the success of the JFK Disclosure Act," I don't think it was successful. I mean, it was during Trump's era. It came to him. He didn't release the meat of the stuff, right? He punted it over to Biden, and then Biden said, "Nope, I'm not releasing this stuff." So how is that successful?
Well, if people can read black boxes, it was successful for them.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And yeah, for the guys, the people who were on the review board, they got to know what happened. So here's Fox 5 giving us a nice summary of what happened on Capitol Hill.
The fight to find out what's happening in outer space continues. In inner space, too, this week, Congress passed the annual defense policy bill, tucked inside an effort to reveal what the federal government knows about UFOs. Fox 5's Ashley Rodriguez reports.
The yeas are 87, the nays are 13, and the conference report is agreed to.
Rare bipartisanship on Capitol Hill over unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, formerly known as UFOs.
This is a major, major win for government transparency on UAPs.
Congress passed the annual defense policy bill this week. Inside it, two major breakthroughs. First, a provision mandating the National Archives collect federal government records on UAPs and publicly release that information if appropriate. But lawmakers...
if appropriate, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're mandated to collect it and then release it if appropriate. Oh, man, bureaucracy. Government's great, isn't it?
Should have just called it the red tape bill.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we'll see what comes out of it. It's a complete joke.
More, especially after a UAP whistleblower testified in July, the government is hiding what could be alien remains.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human.
That's a step too far for the intelligence community, which was able to nix provisions that would outright declassify what the government knows about the unknown in outer space.
They were kept out with really the veto of the House Intelligence Committee, and that only breeds more concern.
But intelligence experts say there are lots of reasons the government safeguards some secrets. UAPs could be proprietary U.S. technology, which officials don't want revealed to the public or...
Man, fine. Don't tell us about the technology. Just tell us about NHIs or, about the retrieval programs going back to whenever. Fine, don't tell us how it works. They don't tell us how hydrogen bombs work, but they tell us that they're real.
I know, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and their reasoning they always use that reasoning. We're not asking about that. In the UAP Disclosure Act, none of it says to tell us about the technology. It's about the reality of 9 NHIs and
like the majority of people just want to know the truth of what's going on. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm not asking. I don't want to you don't have to give me the blueprint so I can build a
spaceship
flying saucer in my garage. I mean, that'd be sweet, but that's not what I'm asking for. I just want to know what is happening, just like everyone else.
Yeah, and everyone now is wondering, Tucker. So, of course, I'm forgetting his name, and I love this guy. What's his name, man? He's a complete comedian. Wait a minute. No, his name's not on there, but he's on the Blaze TV. He's that guy that got up during COVID and would go in front of the council members and do stuff. Anyway, yeah. So let's listen to him. He thinks it's a psyop. Lots of people like him think it's a psyop. But let's see. He asked Tucker what he thinks about aliens and NHI.
To a subject that you said, the subject that we all like, extraterrestrials. Tucker, personally, what I think that they're trying to do with extraterrestrials is I believe it was Ronald Reagan who said that it would take an existential outside threat in order to bring all the nations together. So I think that they might be using aliens as a psyop to scare us. What is your opinion on aliens, Tucker?
Well, the whole topic has certainly been frequently used as a psyop. That's documented. I mean, a lot of it's out. Project Blue Book and all that stuff. I mean, there's absolutely no question the U.S. government used this story as a distraction, has lied a great deal about it. And that's, I have no doubt, still in progress. The question is, at the core, underneath all of that, underneath all the lying, is there something there? And yes, there is. And it's been written about since we have a written record.
Tucker, the UFO expert. It's crazy how he's just so vocal on this subject, or people asking. Well, because he's so influential too. That's why, right? It's important.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big name right now. So it's good that at least someone with a big name is actively pursuing the story.
Yeah, and he's right. He basically said that yes, this phenomenon has been used for psyops, and it has, and that's documented. But it's also, and we've said this multiple times, that it's the original psyop, but the original psyop that they don't exist, and there's nothing to it. That's the original psyop, and they've been carrying this out for 70, 80 years. You know,
well, and even I just watched the newest Y-Files episode, and he talks about the Book of Enoch and why it was nixed from the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, and that is all about alien, not all about, but there's a huge chunk of it that's about essentially alien abduction, lights in the sky, and visiting quote unquote God in a spaceship above the Earth. You know, so. And that is a story that was censored thousands of years ago.
Yep, exactly. In the Book of Enoch, exactly. And, you know, many people have said that the prophets themselves have been abductees, and they all share a genetic trait, which is, again, goes back to the abduction phenomenon, that it's always genetic, and, you know, there's a lineage there. So it goes along with that, and, you know, immaculate birth, you know, artificial insemination, all that. And yes, that's probably the reason why it doesn't really get disclosed, is because it opens up questions to all that.
Yeah, that could very well be.
It's been written about for thousands of years. And so, yes, there is something that is not human flying around. It is an independent intelligence. Is it extraterrestrial? I don't think that it is. That's just my guess. Informed guess, but whatever it is real. That's one thing we know. The second thing we know is the U.S. government absolutely does have physical evidence of this, whatever it is, and we know that from 10 separate whistleblowers, a couple of whom I know. And then the third thing we know is that the U.S. government, the Congress specifically, including the Senate Majority Leader, including the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and including 2 different committee chairmen, are making extraordinary efforts to prevent the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023 from being, you know, from taking effect, from preventing the act from releasing the information to the public. They're trying really, really hard. And that's true. And I know that for a fact. So, of course, there are psyops, and they're going in many different directions. It's hard to know exactly what they are. But the core facts are this is real. The U.S. government does have physical evidence, and they are still trying to hide it from us. So what does that add up to? You know, I don't know. I've done a lot on this, and I've talked to a lot of people, and my personal view is, you know, they're not doing that by accident. I think there's dark stuff at the center of the story, really dark. I mean, I know that is true. I believe that is true. So,
well, and obviously you've done a lot of research about space, so I think that you'd be very familiar with. My next question is about Operation Paperclip after World War II. You know,
oh yeah, so that's Alex Stein. All right, so now he's bringing up Operation Paperclip. Just say this is all Nazi technology. All right, let's see. It's interesting.
I mean, obviously the Nazis were a powerful group of people, but I don't know. I'm like torn on. And I know Operation Paperclip is real.
Well, it is.
NASA. I made this joke before, and it's probably stolen from somebody. But you know, the first spaceship that went to the moon technically probably should have had a swastika on the side.
Yeah.
But I don't think they had the technology to create the stuff that we're seeing today, or like the precursor technology to the stuff we're seeing today.
Right. I mean,
if they had that, I think they would have revealed it or used it, and been a lot. Man, I'm not praising Nazis here, people. I'm just saying if they had this kind of stuff, I think they would have been a little bit more successful.
Yeah, there's books out there and researchers that said that, you know, they did have flying saucers and went to Antarctica, and the 1950s flap, the one in DC specifically, was them. You know, there's rumors about that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, even though they were advanced, the V2 rocket was nothing any of the Allied powers had. So that's why they brought them over, and Russia brought them over. But even them, here we go. Herman Oberth, one of the scientists, he's been quoted by saying that they were helped by others of other worlds. He said that, and it's a quote known by Herman Oberth. So I'm sure that's what Alex Stein is going to say now. Like, what if they're just secret U.S. technology? Yeah, we've all asked that. Yes, a lot of it is, but it doesn't go back to like the 1600s or before that,
right?
So yeah, interested. Let's see what Alex Stein says.
We brought the top Nazi scientists, Werner von Braun being one of them, over to America to create our space program, NASA. He was best friends with Walt Disney. And then he was able to go to the moon in 1969 and 1972, 6 different trips through backwards and forwards through the Van Allen radiation belt 12 times with technology that they accidentally destroyed. So my question for you is, do you think that the moon landing was real, and do you think that it was done by Nazis that were literally brought over during Operation Paperclip? Is that a conspiracy, or is that true in your opinion, Tucker?
I don't know. I do know that the original moon landing tapes have been erased at NASA because they needed, the tape space, so they just kind of taped over them.
That's the official, Tucker. That's the official story. Is they taped over, and official story is that they lost the technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. Yet Elon Musk's own rockets can't go. The moon is 257,000 miles away. Elon Musk's rocket busted at less than 90 miles away. So we don't have a space vehicle in the past 50 years that can even go 257,000.
He took it to the moon thing, but but I mean, yes, it's just so weird, the whole moon thing. It doesn't help when they do stuff like that.
No, it doesn't. It really, I mean, the level of incompetence where if the official story is true that they taped over the moon landing footage is so. I mean, how does that conversation even happen at NASA? Oh God, we're out of tape. What should we do? Like, buy more tape? No. That's ridiculous. Let's
tape over the first time humans landed on the moon.
See, we got these tapes in this vault over here. They're collecting dust. No one's using them. Let's just use these. Like, what are you doing?
Stupid. It makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Unless they're trying to hide something. So he was on Redacted also last week, and he mentioned that there's a very scary part of the phenomenon, and that's why he doesn't say what it is here, but we can discuss. And that's why they don't share what's going on, what's really going on.
The second thing that bothers me is the UFO story, and the more you dig into that and talk to people with actual knowledge of it, again, that's another story where there are some, fanciful ideas floating around that are just, there's no evidence that they're true. But if you talk to people who, have actual knowledge of it that they gathered themselves, there are parts of that story that I do not understand at all that are really, really, really dark. It's so dark that I, haven't told my wife about it. I mean, I haven't verified any of this, but this is not just stuff that I read on the internet. I know you all are very, very grounded in that story. So I think I know, what I'm talking about. Yeah. But there's some stuff there that's just like, man, I'm not even sure what that means. There's a spiritual component there that I don't fully understand. So yes, that story bothers me. And I think last thing I'll say, that one of the reasons that we've had all these disclosures and all these, 10 whistleblowers at this point, and it hasn't really become front page news. Part of it's suppression. Parts of the government don't want you to know about it, but part of it is the public can't deal with it. It's too far out. The implications are too profound. And so, and I understand that, because I've heard things where I'm just like, oh man, I don't even really want to know that, honestly.
What do you think he's referring to there? What's the story that's so scary he won't even tell his wife?
He gave us some hints. He says spiritual, right? So maybe it's just something masquerading, does whatever it wants, anytime it wants, comes in and out of our reality. We have no control over it. It can take people, it can do stuff to people. It can, something that basically our rulers, humanity's rulers, right? The top of the pyramid on planet Earth can't do anything about it, but it might even reach things of like souls and, the eventual thing, like why we have souls or why humanity is here, or, I don't know. He doesn't really help, but he does say it's spiritual and that it's scary and that most people can't handle it.
Yeah. I mean, there's been that it's pretty deep down the rabbit hole, but if Earth is a soul harvesting farm, essentially, that would be that truly would be terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. And
now we've talked about, and we've said on the show, like, just tell the people. I mean, who's really going to freak out if it turns out, aliens walk among us or all that? But if the proof came out that all of us here on Earth essentially are just waiting to die so they can use our souls for some nefarious purpose, they being whatever entity, quote unquote, owns or rules the planet,
runs this place,
that would, I think that would truly actually scare a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think it's you can compare it to when Neo woke up to the Matrix, right? When he gets out, he's in the pod. He gets out of the pod. He unplugs himself. He looks around, and not everyone needs to know that, at least, but you can still say that NHI and intelligence everywhere, not just nuts and bolts, but even in different dimensions, do exist, and you can take measures to protect yourself or whatever it is. But I mean, like, again, not everything has to be disclosed. Like, why is it all or nothing? I mean, I get it, I really do. It's just it's not helping when you just close down the conversation 100%.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I mean, I guess we're having the conversation, right? And there's so many people having the conversation. It's just our officialdom won't touch it.
Right. And for the most part, I just ignore the black sedans that sit outside my apartment day and night.
Oh, man. I used to always, when I used to have a website and all that kind of stuff, and I, get emails and share the emails and the blog posts and all that, I used to be really worried. Not anymore, though. I don't know why. I think we get more traction on this show than I ever did. So I'm not worried as much as I used to be before, is what I'm saying.
Right, I hear you.
It's funny you say that.
Well, and how many podcasts nowadays are talking about the same thing we're talking about?
Everyone, right?
I don't think the government could afford that many black SUVs.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so who's this? This is Postapocalyptic Media. So I don't think this is mainstream media, but this is
no, it is not.
But this is a great article, though. It's long, and we're definitely not going to go through it. But
what's the title of the article?
Sorry about that. UFO Whistleblowers, Skinwalker Ranch nearly unlocked the secrets of a retrieved UAP.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is by just Stephanie. So thank you, Stephanie, for your work.
Great job, Stephanie. Don't ever give them your last name, and look out for black SUVs.
Yes, and she basically did this after David Grush was on the Joe Rogan Experience. This was a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now. I highlighted some quotes. So it goes.
This is from Grush, right?
Yeah. Do you want to read these? You're much better at reading than I am.
In spring 2020.
Yes!
No, I'm just kidding. In spring 2021, I actually flew with a couple colleagues of mine to Las Vegas, and I met with Senator Harry Reid about 9 months before he died, Grush said. I wanted to get his kind of thought leadership on the UAP topic because he was a Gang of 8 member. He helped sponsor the AWSAP program, AAWSAP program, where they looked at Skinwalker Ranch and some other things. And I wanted to understand, why did he give $11 million to DIA and Bigelow Aerospace for this? Real quick, one of the first things Reid did, Grush recalled, was acknowledge that the U.S. had retrieved UFOs.
Crazy.
Reid straight up says, yeah, I knew we had UFO material. I was denied access for decades, Grush says. I was already talking to these amazing high-level people, but I have Harry Reid literally saying, yes, we have material, and he knew it was non-human. He straight up said to me that he was going to talk to President Biden about this issue, literally.
Dude, yeah. And yeah,
there's a document that came out a couple years ago through FOIA from the Defense Intelligence Agency, Grush said. There was this special access program request that Harry Reid sent to the Deputy Secretary of Defense, William Lynn, and it was asking for one of the most serious SAPs you can ask for, what they called a bigoted waived special access program. And I'm like, why are you asking for the most serious SAP to be created for a program that ostensibly is looking at Skinwalker Ranch? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, and then here.
Reid, what's that? Well, hold on, scroll up just a little bit. Alsap and Bigelow tried to get access to one of the retrieved UFOs, Gush revealed. Reed told him they needed a deeper level of classification in order to study a retrieved UFO. Harry Reid said this: "We knew that Lockheed Martin had this material for decades," Grush said in his Joe Rogan interview. "I tried to get access and I was denied, specifically with the Lockheed Martin stuff he was talking about during the ALSAP program. So Lockheed Martin wanted to divest itself from this material at a specific facility that's known to me that I provided to the Inspector General." And this is where the special SAP classification came into play. The idea was if they made a security catcher's mitt for this shit, the most serious SAP possible, and it was shit that they discovered from like the 50s and stuff, and it was bits and pieces of hull structure, shit like that, Grush shared. They were going to tech transfer it, and the $21 or $22 million that was actually for Bigelow Aerospace to build out facilities in Las Vegas and get material analysis equipment. I saw the staff meeting slides. I saw the paperwork. There's a paperwork trail I've seen.
Wow.
But Grush said at about 34 minutes into the interview, the request was denied. Basically, the CIA said, "Fuck you" to the DIA and Lockheed, and it was totally killed, Grush said. So Harry Reid's request to get the material transferred to OSAP program was totally killed because of bureaucracy and kind of fiefdom stuff. So they used that money, and then they wrote those defense intelligence reference documents. The denial came in November 2009 via a memo from James R. Clapper Jr.
Yes. So Clapper, head of the NSA at the time, he wrote to them saying that he doesn't recommend that they get these classifications. And that basically killed OSAP. Is there anything else?
July 2009, after Reid had requested SAP classification for the program, the DIA was given 26 papers based on 12 research areas related to OSAP and Bigelow's work. These research areas include topics like pulse power-based weaponry, space-time modification for spaceflight applications, theory and experiments of invisibility cloaking, wormholes in space-time, gravity wave communication, anti-gravity for aerospace application, and warp drives. Yikes.
Huh.
And more.
Yeah. And they still didn't get, despite all this, restricted SAP classification was ultimately denied. So that's the history of all this,
Yeah, this is what they're keeping from us.
Yeah, it is what they're keeping from us. It's what I think what this entire empire is based on. So Grush is pissed, obviously. So all that was happening before everything got tanked or canned. So he went on. Grush went on News Nation, really upset, and it was a great interview. But he's you can see that he's really upset about what happened.
And News Nation is who broke the original Grush story, right?
Yeah, and they're really pushing this. Once this really becomes mainstream, and it's hitting the mainstream now, you can't say it is mainstream. Tucker's talking about it, like everywhere he goes on asking about it. You had Blaze TV talking about it, Daily Caller talks about it, CNN, MSNBC, like it's everyone, Fox. It's a big issue, and they still won't have transparency on it. So okay, yeah, let's hear what Grush said. I might skip a few because he doesn't. It's towards the end, but you can tell that he's upset here in this interview.
That's not happening now. In part one of my interview with Grush yesterday, he said those measures now dead, the push for disclosure has been dealt a massive setback.
What we're witnessing right now is, quite frankly, the greatest legislative failure in American history. You had a very strong amendment for government transparency on this issue, whether you believe my allegations or not. This is a government transparency issue at large.
Grush admonished Congress for killing those key measures that he said would have helped boost UAP transparency to the American public, but the fight is not over. Grush said it's up to you, the voters, to vote out the lawmakers who squashed those provisions that would have created transparency. More importantly, Grush suggested that the floodgates may soon be opening. He told me that his congressional testimony has inspired others to come forward with what they know about this alleged secret UAP program.
And that's where this all talk of catastrophic disclosures coming. I do want to skip ahead to the important stuff, or the important part of the interview. It's all important, but we've spoken about a lot of it. I mean,
what the clear defense contractor base does all the metal bending work, if you will, for the military industrial complex. It's not the agencies themselves that typically do the performance of those kind of activities.
But the point being that you think it's those defense contractors like Lockheed Martin, for example, or others that have custody of these remains, not the U.S. government?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Harry Reid specifically said Lockheed Martin, and that is a disclosure he made 3 weeks after I met him in the New Yorker. I believe that was in May 2021, where he literally discusses Lockheed Martin in that disclosure to the journalist who wrote that article in the New Yorker.
Well, there's been allegations that House Republicans are being paid off by defense contractors. I mean, one of the House Republicans that watered down the defense bill and watered down the provisions for releasing information has gotten a lot of campaign donations from major defense contractors.
Yeah, that's publicly, you look that up, the PAC donations with some of these Republicans. You know, it's the big three that have typically donated to some of these big committee chairs, right?
It's so funny how that's where they came in, because I remember we used to talk about this too. I'm like, where are they? You know, when Congress was making the laws and writing the laws and all this stuff on social media and on the news, and we heard nothing from them because they didn't care. They're like, yeah, we got the big guys. Once it gets there, we'll contact them and they'll just shut it down. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep. Again,
right?
Oh God, our government is so corrupt and it's so terrible.
Yeah, and it's because it's the money comes in politics. The country's been talking about this for decades. It's not just in this issue, right? It's so
right, that's why all of these movements to get money out of Congress or politics in general goes absolutely nowhere. And, I mean, God, these Congress, oh my God, they're so evil, and they consistently give themselves raises and bonuses, and I don't know about bonuses, raises, and then they always get a cushy board position at some of these huge companies when they've quote unquote retired from
done the job.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah, like Kirkpatrick. I mean, he, I don't want to blame him 100% because again, the DOD was all over this and wanted to whitewash it and but still, though. He gets rewarded. He retires from Aero, and where they put him? Oak Ridge National Lab, nice cushy job. They've had the oldest UFO encounters since the history of our country, so it's all there. So it's like, here you go, read up. Once you're there, you can read up all you want. I
should have gone into politics, become a politician.
Is it in you though? I mean, I thought.
No.
It'll eat me inside if I win.
This is a different timeline where I'm a complete sociopath.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. But let's see. This is 11. I think the last 2 minutes is when he really gives it to them.
Of individuals, crisis right now. This hold the IG accountable and the executive branch accountable because we have a severe constitutional crisis right now. This is not a laughing matter. We have a severe oversight issue where there's a caste system of individuals. Previous presidents.
How you like those words? Caste system of individuals. Yes, it's a caste system.
Yeah, I mean, in that last article we read, he was talking about fiefdom. This is what he's talking about.
Yeah, I get to know, you don't. My family line deserves this information. You don't. Kind of, that's the thinking. I am elite. You're not. This country was not founded like that at all.
Nope.
Yeah, and that's why that's why this type of thinking and this people like Grush who understand that why our system of government was created the way it was, it gets to them just like us, you and I. It gets to us too. It's like we're not. This is not the old world, people. This is the new world for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So let them continue.
Most likely we're abusing their authority under the unitary executive theory, right? Which is a theory that the president, the chief executive, has ultimate power and with a stroke of the pen can, decide certain things. So I think we have a severe truth and reconciliation process we need to, start in this country. And I'm here to help the current administration, and I'm happy to help. I'm not here to totally admonish people, and I want to be, a tool for change here. So I want to help the current administration. If not, we need to make it an election issue. People need to be voting out these people, and I think News Nation should post a list of House Republicans or Democrats, for that matter,
get them,
oppose this legislation and allow their
exactly. Go get it. He's like, yeah, I'm available. I can help if you guys want, or it's catastrophic disclosure for all of you. Is basically what he's saying, you know. And there's an army of people like him, and he has so much support, official support, people on the ground, podcasts like us, journalists. So, you know, he's speaking from a position of, you know, if you guys don't want to go this way, this illegal way, you know, we're still going to have disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
Constituencies to decide if these are the kind of leaders that they want that are hindering government transparency, and through a democratic process in the 2024 election, we need to get these people out of office. And furthermore, with the House Intelligence Committee, Mike Turner probably has no business being the chairman. I think somebody like Mike Gallagher, who's on the committee, he's a former Marine Corps intelligence officer. He takes this issue seriously. He's spoken out about it publicly, should be the chair. And people like Mike Turner, who say, I don't know, Dave doesn't know what he's talking about on Fox Business. Really? Well, Mike Turner's never been an intelligence officer. He's never served in the military. He was the mayor of Dayton before he became in Congress. He's a junior person in terms of the...
sorry to talk about Dayton, Ohio. So we know what's in Ohio, right? Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is in Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is it coincidence that he's at the top of the intelligence committee? I mean, what the hell?
There are no coincidences.
It's so messed up to think about. It's like, all right, let's put him there right now. Or I need to look at how long he's been at the head of Intel committee, because it's just the timing is crazy.
Very suspicious.
The Intelligence Committee, and I gave his committee 5 hours of testimony last December, and Mike Turner's staff never invited me back for more. They were not inquisitive to understand the issue more broadly or more in depth. And there's probably a reason behind that. And I just don't appreciate people that don't want transparency on the matter, quite frankly.
Go get him, Grush.
Seriously, I hope wherever he ends up, it's not in a shallow grave. Unmarked shallow grave someplace. I wish.
Well, he's talked about, and you know, yeah, he's really worried. He's talked about he's worried too, and you know, he does arm himself. The reason why he came forward is because there were threats to his life, because he was asking too many questions, and that's why he's come forward. And he's lucky because he has those protections which other whistleblowers before him didn't have. But that's why he came public too. Just like how I guess Bob Lazar did that. Also, when he felt scared, he became public.
Mm-hmm.
So, former Rear Admiral supports UFO whistleblower claims. He's got a hard name. Gallaudet. He's a Gallaudet is a Rear Admiral. You're right, exactly, and that supports Grush's claims. Do you know about this guy? He's cool.
I don't think so.
He was head of NOAA too. So, you know, he always says as being head of NOAA. Yeah, here it is. He led the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration under former President Donald Trump. So he was saying, you know, because he was head of NOAA, that he thought he was in the know or should be in the know of these activities happening in our oceans and our skies. And he was denied access. And again, so that's why he's out. It's weird how they pick and choose, huh? Who has access?
Seriously.
It's like they know your mentality that you might tell, kind of thing. Like you're not a psychopath. Like, I want all the information.
Where lawmakers heard from key witnesses are leading to calls for more answers. Next guest wrote a piece for The Hill titled UFOs Are the Story of the Century, Wake Up America. In it, he gives some recommendations for what lawmakers should do next. Joining us now, retired Rear Admiral Tim Claudet, former administrator of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, CEO of Ocean STL Consulting. All right. Good to see you, sir. Thank you. I just have a question. If UFOs are real, right, and there's aliens and we have them, wouldn't that sort of be the story of the world from the beginning of time rather than just the century?
Well, it's great to be here, Leland. Thanks. And absolutely, yes. It's a story of our civilization, really. And as I outlined in that op-ed, this really, from a scientific and a security standpoint, is unlike anything we've ever known. And by the way, those three very credible witnesses at the hearing, all former military officers, all with backgrounds similar to mine, they claimed, and I fully believe them, that they have evidence of this.
Well, respectfully, they claim that they knew of evidence. I have not heard of anybody who actually has real proof so far. I've heard a lot of conjecture.
It's crazy how these people say that when there was a congressional hearing and an IC inspector general complained, and all this stuff has been. So
there's like so much proof, you know.
They keep bringing that up. It's these guys, you know, who say they know someone that know someone else that was on the project. You know, they keep using this thing. I mean, they're not going to just come out if it's classified information and tell us. So, guess who was on Tucker Carlson?
Me. No.
Soon enough, Topher, you will be.
I know.
On
one day.
Grush. So they did an hour interview.
Reported seeing strange moving lights in the sky since, well, the beginning of known history. Record goes back thousands of years. What is that? We don't know.
Well, we don't need to hear the intro. There's some. He talks about Harry Reid in there, but he talks about having reprisals and threats to his life, and you know why he went public, and you know it's because he really feared for his life, and they were after him.
Yeah, I mean,
weird things happening.
Some of the biggest whistleblowers in the United States. There was the Snowden, of course.
Yeah.
He's hiding out in Russia, and the guy who was WikiLeaks.
Yeah. Oh. Oh my God. Wait. Sorry.
I know, right? This is what I'm talking about. Anyway, the point is, you know, it's not safe to be a whistleblower at all.
No, it's not. And even though they have all these protections, anyway, this is a great interview because it's candid. You know how Tucker is, and you know Tucker really asked him some important questions, like, you know, how is this legal? Basically, kind of saying, because you know Grush would know this, and that's one of the reasons why they don't come out. Also, is because they're scared that a lot of these guys will go to jail for doing a lot of illegal activity.
Open to study throughout the world.
Well, especially since it sounds pretty clear that the U.S. government's been in contact with whatever these are. You wouldn't confirm or deny that in your congressional testimony. It seems very clear to me. And I won't ask you because you already have an answer, but you know, that's being done in the name of the U.S. taxpayer, of citizens, of voters. And at some point they have a right to know that. Like, I can't imagine what the justification for keeping that from the public, who you work for, what could that be?
Yeah, I think it's an abuse, you know, so Executive Order 13526, if you read that, delineates the 8 reasons you classify information. And the only thing that this falls under is, you know, scientific and technical information that has national security implications. This is boilerplate. And it's really just an abuse at this point. And we're overclassifying things out of fear of the socioeconomic, theological, and counterintelligence implications. Because I remember talking to...
he said it there. So he said socioeconomic, theological, and counterintelligence. So those 3, right? So those are the reasons.
Yeah.
He said it. The counterintelligence, I remember reading that too in other documents, that they were scared that other countries would use the reality of this to affect the U.S. populace. You know, like basically fake invasions or fake attacks. Or
Project
something
Blue
like that. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, when you put it in that context, is it ever really going to be disclosed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's scary to think about.
It is.
Former director of a 3-letter agency that we happen to know personally and we met with. And, you know, that former director's biggest issue was the counterintelligence implications. We can't let Russia and China figure this. Okay, I get that. I used to work counterintelligence to protect U.S. programs in a previous job when I was a young Air Force officer. But there's got to be a middle ground and not, oh, well, we don't know what to do, so we're just going to keep everything unacknowledged. It's ridiculous.
But it also suggests that there's more going on here. I mean, in your own life or my life, the life of any person, the things that you hide the things you try to keep secret the most assiduously are the things you're most embarrassed about.
That is true. So there was a recent administration that had an informal offsite meeting, and I talked to multiple individuals that were in this in-person meeting with, we'll just say, National Security Council staff of this former administration. And one of the biggest issues that they raised was white-collar crime, illegal contracting. So there's something called the Federal Acquisition Regulation, the FAR, and if you only give a couple contractors full access for decades of this stuff, and you don't let other contractors compete for work, for money, you're giving certain companies an unfair competitive advantage that violates literal U.S. law. So it's, we're not going to release anything because then we have to deal. And I remember these individuals telling me they were worried that contractors would sue the U.S. government and it'd be litigated to the Supreme Court. Well, we're out of billions of dollars because you sole sourced it to these couple companies.
Of course. Well, and there are darker explanations.
And there's darker things, I'm sure, but some of the most.
There's darker things, I'm sure, and that's what Tucker's asking him about, right? These darker things, because even right before he said this, he's like, "There's a reason why they keep it secret. There's another reason."
Yeah.
But okay, let's just say demonology, right? Demonic entities, demons. Wasn't the Catholic Church dealing with this, before? It's not like, it wasn't out in the open that people get possessed and demons are real. And, it was society dealt with it. Like, what's this babying down of reality? Where domesticated animals.
It's a really good point. I mean, as far as I know, I don't think it's very common, but the Catholic Church still does perform exorcisms.
Yeah.
So they acknowledge that demons can exist.
Right. It's a dual universe. It's not all good. It's a very dangerous place out there. I mean, it's the reason why we created this civilization. And that's why we feel so separate from nature. Is we have separated ourselves from nature.
Yeah.
Which is not a nice place always, So yeah, I mean, here, let's see if there's anything else.
Obvious ones that they told me were very rudimentary, and it's like, I'm sorry you guys did that. And let's be clear, I'm not here to admonish the entire U.S. government. I mean, I know a lot of good people. I would have to think I was a good person, a good, intelligence officer.
Well, I'm the son of a federal employee. You don't need to convince me. I know.
So I'm not here to overly admonish everybody. I think there needs to be, call it a truth and reconciliation process. We're not here to shackle people. We're not here to get people necessarily in trouble unless they did something grossly illegal and immoral and unethical. And I suspect, based on people I talk to, there is going to be limited situations where people are going to be found culpable in that. But I'm here, it's time to reconcile this. We need to heal from this. We need to disclose the basics, the fact that we're not alone. We've recovered material and we've recovered the occupants. And beyond that, the president can decide what should be disclosed. It's above my pay grade, but the basics should be acknowledged. And I think it's a more ontologically shocking, but also uniting thing in an era of divisiveness. I think we need
I
this.
agree with that.
I mean, what else is going to unite the left, the right, and potentially our adversaries? I mean, you saw the hearing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, too. It is. There's so many wins from this, but it's for the people. That's the problem. The wins are mostly for the people. And the people in charge never like that. It always has to be a win only for them. And this is not a win for them when there's disclosure regarding this subject. It just isn't. And it has to be forced. And this is before, by the way, this is before that the UAP Disclosure Act did not work. So, he's in a different mood here. But I mean, he's right. Just let the basics out. It's a uniting thing. It might make science, popular again. We might have scientists and a good education again in this country, and it'll revive the economy. It'll bring people together. It'll be a different world. I think we're at the end of this. What truth embargo is what Steve Bassett calls it.
Here's hoping, anyway.
Right. I mean, so I don't think so. Them going through that, and we talk about catastrophic disclosure. It's the big buzzword now, and we have no choice, right, except catastrophic disclosure. But for most of the population, if the president doesn't announce it, it's not announced. We've shared this so many times, I think, but people need to just understand it. This is Eric Davis. He talks about the crash retrieval programs. It's a good summary, really. Should we play this?
If we've shared it before, I don't think it's necessary, and it's going to be in the show notes, just like always on all of our shows. We list everything that we talk about during the show in the show notes. You can find those on YouTube and Twitter. No, I'm sorry, YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, and YouTube too. They're allowing us to put links. So now here's Dan Sheehan. I'm pretty sure we covered him last week. Also, he's him, Bassett, Grush. They're all part of this disclosure thing, right? Legally. So now they're out doing podcasts and shows, and they're talking about catastrophic disclosure. That if the government doesn't want to do this the right way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Yeah.
So he was on here talking about, I think, an interview with a being.
They had an actual live entity in custody.
Yes.
What exactly occurred?
I interviewed one of the people that were involved in this, and have been able to establish the credibility of the information, and that what they were doing is they were telepathically interviewing this Ibu, the extraterrestrial biological entity. That's how they refer to him, and they were interrogating him telepathically, actually. I mean, this sounds a little bizarre, so I don't want to get too far ahead of all this and have this be the headline. Everybody going crazy about this.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that telling them that there is a coalition of different star systems in our galaxy that are engaged in a process of monitoring the evolution of life on different planets in our galaxy, and that there are representatives in this operation from different star systems that are cooperating on this. They're monitoring the development of life, that our planet Earth is not absolutely unique, but it's one of the rare planets that actually gestates life. Our planet gestates life, which functionally evolves teleologically into sentient conscious life like our human species.
And what do you mean gestates? Like
creates?
Does that mean it creates? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
and that goes along with observation, right? I mean, at least now we haven't seen much out there other than Earth. So yes, we know it's unique. It's probably why it gets visited so much. It's probably why there's so many factions fighting over it. It's a gem, we can tell. This is a beautiful planet that we live on.
Yes, it is.
And for billions of years. So that was part of the he goes in that interview, goes in detail about catastrophic disclosure, and these are one of the things I think they're worried about. Secrets of Area 51 metallic. Oh, sorry, this is Daily Mail. Yes, I know. Secrets of Area 51 metallic egg-shaped UFO the size of an SUV was kept at the highly classified Air Force Base in the 1980s. Whistleblower claims. Eric Tabor, a defense aerospace contractor for 13 years, told dailymail.com of an egg-shaped metallic UFO kept at Area 51 in the 1980s. He revealed the story. His late great-uncle Sam Urquhart, an Area 51 contractor, told him about a UFO at the mysterious desert base. Tabor testified in May to the Pentagon's UFO investigation unit. Who are collecting accounts of alleged government possession of non-human craft. So he went to Arrow. Is this the story? This is him.
Wow, man. So finally figured out what they've got. I was gonna say they finally figured out what they've got at Area 51, but we've known. We've always known.
That's his dad. I guess he was a contractor too. That's a image of
a recreation of what it was.
Recreation, yes, a rendering of the metallic egg. X-rays couldn't penetrate it. It showed up on X-ray as a solid object. They tried to open it and penetrate its hull. They couldn't. Oh, here's the interview.
Seamless.
My name is Eric Tabor. I work for I did work for a U.S. aerospace company.
I did, yeah.
On different projects. I have a security clearance for the past 13 years. Everything that I've worked on and seen is not anywhere close to the same level of technology as the Tic Tac, for example.
I don't like the blinking. That's just me. You know, I mean, I get it. He's being interviewed. There's lots of lights and stuff like that. The blinking just gets me.
Yeah.
Or other things that have been cited that are quite exotic and can move in ways that defy physics. Some of the things I've worked on I cannot and will never talk about. As a patriotic American, I would never divulge classified information.
And you have some direct experience of this with your family. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I moved to the West Coast in 2012. No family west of the Mississippi. My grandmother was nice enough to let me know that I had a great uncle named Sam Yercourt. He told me that he worked at Area 51 from 1997 until 2014. Stayed working there as EG&G evolved through a merger with Raytheon, I believe, into the company known as JT3, and then retired in 2014 as JT3 transitioned into JT4. He said, when I first got there in 1997, I had a personal conversation with a senior EG&G engineer whose group was tasked with trying to reverse engineer, figure out an object that was brought there by some CIA people.
Now, yeah, he does know EG&G was running Area 51, is according to Knapp when he did his investigation. So he knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they vetted him. If he went to Aero, he testified under oath with Aero. So this guy, and he's probably using the Whistleblower Act or protections. So this guy's not like Bob Lazar. I'm not saying Bob Lazar is not saying truth, but I'm saying he's not like someone that just came forward at you know what I mean, and is saying the story. Like this is the story he told Aero. So it adds more credence, right, to what he's saying.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, and it was supposedly found just resting in a remote desert location.
A gift.
Intact. And the senior EG&G engineer described to my great uncle that it was egg-shaped, about the size of a SUV, smooth and seamless, metallic-looking, silverish gray in color, no control surfaces, no flaps, no inlet, no exhaust. It showed up on X-ray as a solid object. They tried to penetrate the hull, try to open it. They couldn't. They said that they were able to take some very small samples of the material. I'm not an expert in chemistry, but I guess the isotope ratio or the mixture of elements, they concluded it was not made on Earth. It's my personal belief that technical data information should remain classified, and these objects shouldn't be paraded around for everyone to see. Although,
right.
I know humanity wants to see this and know this information. The problem is other countries have these objects as well. I conducted a 45-minute phone interview directly with Aero, told them everything that.
Okay, yeah, we'll continue this, but I mean, yeah, but that's a good argument. So if other countries have it, that also goes against the arguments of debunkers that say, well, how come it's only in the U.S.? How come it doesn't happen anywhere else? It's U.S. secret technology. That debunks that. I mean,
you'd think they'd at least leave these, silver metallic eggs like in someone's backyard, to take pictures instead of out in a remote desert where only the government's got access to it.
That's a good point too. Is it because it's just so vast out there? They don't think anyone would ever find it. It does seem like a gift, if you ask me, to just hanging out there.
I mean, I guess, but like, if a gift to who? Because if it was a gift to humanity, the whoever is controlling these UAPs would know at this point that, oh, hey, these governments are not sharing these gifts with the world. They're hoarding them and trying to reverse the technology so they can use it against each other. They'd start giving it to the layman and not these evil corporate government idiots who are more concerned about money and power than anything else.
Yeah, and maybe then that the ones who are gifting our parasitic class are not good aliens either. Maybe it's part of that rumored agreement where give us technology and we'll let you do whatever you want kind of thing, so they periodically just drop something like this and all right, good luck, have fun. So that could be what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good point. Why aren't they giving it to like just normal people? Or maybe when they do, also those people get arrested. I mean, everything is
who knows?
Everything's monitored, right?
Yeah, very true. I mean, yeah, maybe they are dropping it in people's backyards and then they get swooped up and killed in a car accident the next day.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sharing right now. Shortly after the interview, they forwarded me a memorandum of record to sign and date initial. And that's going to be compiled with all the other data they're collecting into a historical record that's going to go to Congress sometime next year. My dealings with Arrow, they were very professional. They were very interested in what I had to say. They never said, don't talk about this. They never were threatening. They never were demeaning.
What would you say the value is of this information? On the one hand, you are giving a story that's second or third hand. This is retold by your great uncle who's now passed away.
That's true.
On the other hand, this could give us a very interesting lead to.
So, all right. So maybe it's just Arrow propaganda.
Yeah. Who knows? Oh, is this the set of The Walking Dead?
I mean, this is that preview I sent you from A24. I think it's the timing again is crazy because you're talking about catastrophic disclosure, no transparency, and then this crazy movie coming out next year, also in 2024.
Civil War.
So let's give this a watch. I think it's really cool.
19 states have seceded. The United States Army ramps up activity. The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance. The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
You need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. What?
Every time I survived a war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? We're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
Move, move, move!
All empires fall.
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
Damn.
It's interesting. I'm really curious to see what, especially in today's political climate, which direction this movie's going to go. Because when I first saw this, I go, "Oh my God, they're going to make it Republicans versus Democrats."
Yeah.
With the Republicans being the bad guys and Democrats being the good guys. But in the trailer, they say the president, played by the guy who does Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, good actor. In his speech, he talks about the united forces of Texas and California, which I found as a huge surprise because those are two complete polar opposites to each other, which is an interesting take. So I wonder if it's going to be a little bit more nuanced and they bad, we good kind of deal, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And there was a big movement during COVID of California. Like, it was like a state within a state. Like they wanted a new California state within California because there are a lot of right-leaning people in California. They're just not it's just done in a way where they're not represented.
Well, and it's just like, I know, the big cities are mostly blue. Orange County is, I'd say it's purple, maybe even on the verge of red.
Yeah.
And I think the further you get away from the cities, the more red California gets. There are a lot of Republicans here in California. Oh, shoot. In California, not here.
Yeah.
What?
Oops. But
Busted.
yeah, I mean, there are, especially inland, right? Like Inland
IE,
Empire. Yeah, IE is huge. The mountainous areas. It's mostly the beach cities that are not, which are the power structures.
Yeah.
So this came out, I think yesterday. The National UFO Historical Records Center acquires archives of Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization, or APRO, which is huge. I think they had the largest one. APRO, a scientific organization founded in 1952, conducted extensive field investigations on UFOs and boasted a sizable team of consulting PhD scientists. James E. McDonald was one of them. He's a renowned atmospheric physicist affiliated with the University of Arizona and a leading UFO researcher of his era. So it's cool. So now they have access to these files.
Yeah, I just wish they figured out a better acronym so you could say it as a word. NUFO HRC, NUFO-HERC. Doesn't really work.
NUFO-HERC. No, it doesn't. APRO is much better. They should have just acquired the name.
Yeah, like
APRO at the same
APRO,
time.
there's of course I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, but usually they don't, it's not necessarily the word, but they spell something that you can, like even UFO, UFO,
yeah, UFO.
But the NUFO-HERC, that's a tough one. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. That's side note.
Well, they have access now to these files. You know what? I did hear when there were these files. Yeah. Anyway, so now we talked about most of the news that we shared with each other this week. There was you shared with me a Reddit post.
Yeah, there's
it's not pulling up.
You have to oh boy, you have to sift through a lot of garbage to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, it's really hard, but this one now is not working. So it was an interview with a local in Peru about the supposedly face peeling aliens, but that link is not working anymore.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, but a lot of people are saying that these locals have been living with this issue for a long time. This is not new. It's just new to us. So people are sitting there saying, "Oh, it's probably just the cartel, or it's probably just the miners messing with the locals." I mean, yeah, man, that's possible.
It could be, but on the other side of it, South America has been a hotbed of UFO activity, and many of the South American governments openly acknowledge that they have UFOs in their airspace and that they've attempted chasing them and shooting them down. And I've brought it up before on the show, I still remember that story. It's been a number of years at this point where everyone in that small town, and I believe it was Brazil, had it on video, these helicopters chasing lights in the sky, and that they had supposedly shot it down, and then all of that stuff got completely scrubbed from the internet. It was huge. It was all over Reddit at the time.
Yeah.
This must have been 3-4 years ago now.
I remember that.
And you can't find anything about it anymore. So clearly something happened.
Yeah. So
because I mean, it wasn't one or two people. It was hundreds of people uploading footage of something going on in the middle of the night. They were just the whole airspace around wherever this town was just going nuts. Might have been Chile. I can't remember. So South America, someplace. But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, South America. They've dealt with a lot of UFOs.
And Brazil too, right? Is that famous case in the 70s? The Brazilian Air Force even dealt with it, and there's an official report about when UFOs went down. They were shooting beams down into the village, killing people, burning people.
Yep.
Very strange. So yeah, of course it was taken off, which is unfortunate. This got a lot of traction too. You sent me this. Tell me about a conspiracy theory that keeps you up at night. So, edit. I didn't expect so many comments on this. Thanks everyone for taking the time. So the top 3 are Pizzagate is number 1.
Yeah.
Soul Trap, which we just spoke about.
9/11.
And then 9/11. So those are the top 3.
There was a couple really good ones in here. There was one about Oh my God, Kurt Cobain's quote unquote suicide, and they listed
Really?
all the reasons as to why it clearly was not a suicide. And it goes back to what's her face, of course, remember her name, his wife
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Listed all the reasons.
Courtney Love,
how much money she made off of it, and all the people that have come forward. Yeah, the first comment on there, stuff about our phones, basically recording us and blasting ads in our face. Let's scroll down and look at a couple of these really quick.
I mean, we're the product, right? Because
the
phone's not free, but the accounts are.
Right.
All right.
Remember, it's that leftmost line that's vertical. You have to follow that down to the next top level comment. So just follow. Yeah, you can just do that. No, we back up. There you go. Lottery is actually trapped to catch. Okay, that's funny but stupid. This is 90% of Reddit. The Federal Reserve and fractional reserve banking no longer require any reserves. The Fed isn't the Fed isn't a conspiracy theory. It's just a theory, or not a conspiracy anymore. In fact, we truly don't own anything and are a few small slip-ups away from Mad Max. Yeah. Pentagon killed its LifeLog project, and then the next day, Facebook was delivered to the masses.
Exactly. And the company that they used was InQtel, which is a CIA investment company.
Interesting.
Yeah, and InQtel is one of the first investors in Facebook.
The conspiracy theory about UFOs or aliens potentially being demons. It's easy to dismiss at first, but the more I think about religion, ancient texts, and so on, it really blurs the line a lot. We really don't know where these things are coming from.
Again, why blanket it? Both angels and demons.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, why just completely? But then, why would that keep you up at night? Evil is all over the place. All right, yeah. So now they're in the skies.
Well, okay. So I think of it this way: you are walking down an alley late at night, and a guy approaches you, but you've got a gun. It's scary, but you at least know if you shoot this person, they're either likely to stop attacking you or run away or die, so you can protect yourself. If you're walking down an alley at night and a demon comes up to you, you can't kill it with a gun. You can't kill it with anything. You are at its mercy. I think that's why it scares people.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It makes sense. The Jennifer Lawrence.
This is a great one. Now this is super interesting. This was another one that I read. I was like, whoa, I've never heard of this. Okay, the conspiracy that Jennifer Lawrence, the actress, is actually a small town girl named Molly Brown, and she was coerced into abandoning her birth family so that she could be groomed into becoming the actress that we know and kind of like today. P.S. I met her birth mother when I purchased a shed off Craigslist. Not making this up. PSS. Sounds bizarre and crazy until you look into it. And then a follow-up comment asked for good resources to look into. And the original commenter says, I have a copy of the birth mother book that tells the story. I doubted the book at first, but it held up when I looked into the matter myself.
That's nuts.
Being a little vague. He comments a little bit further down. It was 4 years ago when this happened, and all I could find at the time was vague references to a lady that claimed to be her mother, but wasn't by birth. It's harder to research now that she has a movie called Mother. Well done. When I read her Wikipedia page today, it reads nothing like I remember originally. I'm not good at this stuff. Someone could use a Wayback Machine. That was me saying that, but thought this was interesting to share because of its absurdity and potential. Yeah, it's one of those conspiracy theories that no one's going to talk about. But
that's crazy, huh?
Yeah, I think there was another one. Hit that.
Oh,
not
sorry.
that one.
Damn it. Oh, at least it doesn't reset it. Okay.
Saw a recent video of young Angelina Jolie talking
I remember
about
that.
the ritual she did for fame. Then it hit me. When celebrities defend themselves, almost all of them say, quote, no one knows what it took to get here.
Right.
Unquote. It clicked for me that they are not talking about rough childhoods or whatever, but the rituals they perform for the fame. They're so excessively intense and literal deals with the devil.
Yeah.
Quote, no one knows what I've been through to get here. And you shut the link too soon, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's too late. Next top level comment. Israel's role in the JFK assassination. Nobody needed JFK dead more than Israel. RFK was going to open a genuine investigation.
Yep.
What's in the material that has not yet been declassified?
Right.
And the reply says, yep, JFK was pissed Israel wouldn't let us see their nuclear capabilities.
Yeah.
And then from the original poster, many people think LBJ was in on it. He clearly acted like he owed Israel favors during the USS Liberty massacre. That's a huge can of worms right there. Look into that. It's no secret RFK hated LBJ. Some people think RFK knew more than he was saying. We'll never know what kind of investigation RFK would have brought, as he was conveniently neutralized. All right. I think we're good on this thread. Like I said, you have to sift through all the dumb comments and jokes and just general actual crap on Reddit. So this story happened Friday, I want to say. This
just happened
Friday, and I have not seen any major articles talking about this, even though this is not sort of weird conspiracy theory or anything. Scroll up to the top so I can read the title of the article, would you? Congressional staffer fired after leaked sex tape filmed in Senate hearing room. So this staffer for a Democrat congressperson filmed himself having sex in the Hart Senate office building on Capitol Hill.
Oh my God.
And the video appears to show two pair of men copulating in Hart 216, the same room where the 9/11 commissions were held, and former FBI James Comey delivered testimony about Donald Trump in 2017. The guy who did it, who filmed it, Aiden Macy. Well, geez,
Maze Kozrovsky.
Yeah,
something Chizrovsky. I don't know.
Oh, and then he posted a quote unquote apology on his LinkedIn, basically saying he's being attacked for being in love with another man. Yeah,
sure.
Quote, this has been a difficult time for me as I've been attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda. Any attempts to characterize my actions otherwise are fabricated, even though there's proof, and I will be exploring what legal options are available to me in these matters. Anyway, he was let go soon after this was leaked. Just a ridiculous story, and I hark back to all of the quotes and things along it where the Biden administration says, finally the adults are back in the White House.
I mean, yeah, exactly. And it's so crazy he has to make it about, discrimination when he was obviously doing something illegal and degenerate. Fine, do that in your bedroom, man, or in the or in a hotel or something. But
yeah, it's just
right there at Capitol Hill. So there's been some technology things also that came out. The moon could get these giant lampposts to guide for future astronauts. I thought this was weird because we've been seeing these weird things on the moon anyway, these long structures, if you remember. So we'll be getting those anyway through human hands.
Well, and it makes sense.
It does. A U.S. company, Honeybee Robotics, has put forth an innovative proposal involving the installation of a 100-meter tall, that's 328 feet, lamppost-like tower to illuminate the surroundings of the moon's outpost during nighttime.
Yeah, I mean, and this is just, when science fiction finally becomes science fact. Like you watch, I think even 2001: A Space Odyssey, they weren't that tall, but pretty sure they had lampposts on the moon. The short time that they were on the moon in that movie.
Yeah. Do you ever watch the movie The Moon, or Moon, just the Moon with
the guy? I won't spoil it.
Sam. Yeah.
Yes.
Sam.
Yes. It's very good. It's pretty sad.
It is pretty sad, but still, it's such a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Remind me to bring that up in my moon corner. Or I mean, my film corner.
Your film corner. So we talked about this last week, was DARPA's initiative for a lunar colony, and they chose 14 companies. So that's one of the things that's going to be implemented in that moon colony. So this is happening. It's serious for once. So now another thing that came out with DARPA Raytheon developing diamond-based GaN microchips. Now, I don't know too much about this. All I know is that, the whole issue with Taiwan and China getting chipset technology from Taiwan, and that our government paid the industry $50 billion not to move any more factories to China. But then this comes out, and this is leaps and bounds ahead of the world. And it's,
what does a GaN microchip? Do you know?
1 second. Here it is. All right. So the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, is teaming with Raytheon to develop new diamond-based substrates for gallium nitride semiconductors in a bid to push high-powered radar and radio frequency communications. The memory capability is 7,000 times higher than current slate of flexible integrated circuits on the market.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
So I thought when this came out, I'm like, that's why they keep it secret, the file. Because I think they, it's like they say that they're 150, 200 years ahead, right? And they have this just kept away secret. China comes along and say, ha, 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 we caught up. And then we'll go, no, ha, ha,
Yeah,
look
exactly.
what we have, kind of thing.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. So maybe that's the reason. Then tell us that's the reason.
Yeah.
Again.
Anyway, cool. We're moving forward in the future. The future is here.
It is. It really is here. Look at this one. New way to charge batteries, harness the power of indefinite causal order. Again, no idea what this means. I know that they're quantum batteries that just get power from the ether or wherever.
I was trying to read the article really quick. Quantum batteries bringing this. That's cool.
Yeah. Batteries exploit quantum phenomena to gain, distribute, and store power. Promises to surpass the abilities and usefulness of conventional chemical batteries in certain low-power applications. So, it's the University of Tokyo. They talk about the quantum world, what it means, but then look at that. They have how it would actually be designed. They're saying low power.
Yeah, well, I mean, it starts with low power, and then as the technology improves, you eventually will get high power.
Yeah, so he said you can use it for smartphones, so which means you don't have to charge it ever. Typically, use chemicals.
Not to dive into Topher's media corner early, but that series of books, The Three-Body Problem and its sequels, they touch on this a little bit actually.
Do they?
There's a part where one of the main characters, he's seeing technology where the people there are like, well, yeah, the energy just comes from the air. It just comes from all around us.
Right. And that's where we're headed to, right? We saw that DARPA also did another project that was wireless energy drones that distribute wireless energy. So, in case infrastructure gets destroyed, you have that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's another one. World's first electromagnetic power generator that uses no fuel debuts. It's an AI, of course, smart electromagnetic generator.
Wow.
I have no idea how these things work, but they're being tested. This goes with the 2050 net zero target. Okay, so that's why these things are coming out, because we have a net zero target coming up.
That's a way off, but still step in the right direction.
Yeah, and then what else do we have? Oh, and then did you see Tesla came out with their?
Yes, I did.
With Gen 2. I mean, they showed how he uses his hands, which is really cool. Let me just skip.
Is he wearing Crocs? It looked like he was wearing Crocs.
Oh, really? He does like exercises. There it is.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes. I don't think. I mean, what would be the purpose of having? I mean, I don't know. I guess if you're like
clean up around the house.
Yeah, do all your little chores that you don't want to do.
But look, see how it does that. So it feels.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff.
Wow, they put it down. That's impressive. Very impressive. I mean, could you imagine these in 20
of course, they've got the cyber trucks in the background. That's a nice
of course.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, we're getting there. We're almost there to the robots just walking around with us.
You just see this one? This is a robot?
I don't think so, but this isn't Tesla.
It's not Tesla. I think it's.
Oh, good. So we're teaching the robots to fight now. This is fantastic.
Right. So there's a LiDAR thing right there. But look in the background.
Recently installed some new arms on our humanoid robot Nadia that were built by Boardwalk.
Nadia, huh?
Ourselves.
So it's a chick.
Better way to test them than with robot boxing.
Any other way?
There it is.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Okay, so it's not the robot reacting to the gloves; it's a guy.
Not yet, at least.
Because I was going to say it's a pretty sloppy punch if it's a robot, because it keeps missing the target.
Yeah, so that's why he has someone in the background looking at it. But they're training it, aren't they? Training it in a way.
I have no idea what they're doing.
Well,
I could
the
kick
guy
this robot's ass.
Towards is making robots that can start doing some of the dangerous tasks that we currently rely on people to do. Things like bomb disposal, nuclear cleanup, disaster
Go punch the
response.
bomb.
By making these kind of immersive telepresence interfaces, we think that you can leverage the human cognitive capability on the robot while still allowing the human to be in a safe place.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a
Yeah.
good idea. That makes me feel a little bit better than the Tesla thing, honestly.
So
this,
like going to the moon or something, right?
yeah, so actually this is, I mean, you know me, I played football growing up, and I'm less of a fan than I was, but I kind of do think this in a sense is going to be the future of what the NFL is, because the players keep getting bigger and stronger and faster, and the injuries are more dangerous. And so pretty soon
they are.
you're just going to have 11 robots competing against 11 robots. All the athletes are on the side in like a VR chamber playing the game, but they have no chance of getting hurt.
That's a good point. Yeah, and that's why a lot of those futuristic movies show that robots are doing it instead of humans, and that might be the reason too, right? It's just it's not worth it.
No, it's not. I mean, kids so young nowadays. I've been asked a question by many people: if I were to have kids, would I let them play tackle football? And the answer is no. I mean, with the concussions and the horrible injuries that can happen to your knees and just different joints. You know, I mean, obviously the medical industry has improved, but I remember reading stories. It was like not even that long. It was like the 60s or 70s. There were guys, tough guys, back when men were men. This is not a joke. Their fingers would get broken so badly they would just cut them off on the sideline.
Oh my God, you're kidding me!
No,
you are kidding me. That's crazy.
No, but
why?
Well, because you can't do anything with it, and you want to go back and play the game, so you cut it off, tape it up, and you go back in there.
What a different just species that is, if you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the rest now, there was that one I sent you about that schizophrenia is actually parasitical entities. So there's that. We don't have to play that one, but I thought that was interesting. I sent it to you. He's a doctor that was in some penitentiary, and he tells a story of these patients that he has, these schizophrenic patients, and then something happened when he started messing with those.
Yeah.
So we have that one.
Schizophrenia is still, as far as I know, I mean, it's been well researched, but still really not that well understood.
No, they don't. So this is a really crazy clip. We're gonna have to cover it. We can go straight into the comedy ones to end the show with.
Yeah, we're getting up there on time. We keep pushing that hour timeline that I was hoping for, but there's just too much to cover.
Yeah, there is. So we can just finish off. You sent me some stuff. I sent you this one, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
And
like I said, this is lawsuit material.
Yeah, you said this is lawsuit material.
So yeah, anyway.
You can
they're going so fast, and they run right into this thing. You got to hit play again.
Yeah, for those people that are not watching, they're just listening.
Someone installed. It looks like they installed a gate on like a bike path that crosses the bike path, and you can't see it from the biker's view, so it's hard to see what they're seeing. But it looks like it would blend in well with the fence and the concrete. So anyway, here's some horrible crashes.
Oh. How fast this guy's going.
Oh God. This is like broken ribs. I mean, this is horrible. This one's the worst. This guy just comes to a dead stop. Oh, I didn't realize he's riding a scooter.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like
it.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh my. All right, so you there's that. Oh, this was too long. It is funny though, but we can just summarize it.
No, we'll link to it. It is too long, but moon pie, that's that famous dessert. They're doing a new marketing thing where they're trying to offer moon pies to aliens and UFOs and stuff.
Yeah, so basically they say, "Oh, we did all this research, and now we're communicating with the aliens about moon pie."
Yeah, it's a clever little advertising thing for the current times.
Right, so they have like alien language in DC and Roswell, New Mexico. So they're riding the wave of UAP and disclosure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's this? The Atlantic Ocean, Cape Canaveral. It's such dorks. So, do you like moon pie?
I don't think I've ever had one. I'll be straight up
Me
honest.
neither. Now I really want one. I think
It
I'll
looks
get
like
one.
an ice cream sandwich, though. I mean,
I think it's marshmallows. It's a marshmallow.
is it marshmallow?
choc-
Okay,
chocolate
then I'm
thing, I think.
not super interested
Oh, so they use their drones.
to communicate. Yeah, no, it's definitely clever advertising. Yeah,
Please buy moon pies.
very clever.
Are we? We're not going to get any kickbacks for that, unfortunately.
Nope, we are not. Free advertising for them.
Oh, this is This is hilarious. Now, is this one okay to show? You think? I mean,
Oh, I think so. I think it's funny.
all right.
Make sure you start at the very beginning. Make sure the volume's all the way up.
Let's start these and then make it
They're
big.
short videos.
Yeah, which is good.
Guys, we've had our safest year ever. But what can we
Ever.
do to make it even safer? Ideas.
We can poke holes in the condoms so they're more aerodynamic.
Does anyone here want to try my breast milk?
Me?
Oh, I knew it.
You can't kill us all.
The running.
You're getting
baby
away!
So all these three videos, if you're gonna play all three, I'm totally on board. But just to give them credit, this is Cracker Milk on YouTube. I believe they're Aussies, right? Or Kiwis? I'm so bad
Definitely
at
Aussies. Definitely Aussies.
Yeah, and they're very clever guys.
Hey boys, who wants to have a pillow fight?
Finish it.
Looks like someone's a bit soft.
For those who are just listening, please if you're listening on YouTube and not watching, watch these because you need to see the visual component to make it funny.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I should share the not one.
I think no, do it.
Should I do it?
Yeah, why
All
not?
right.
It's not inappropriate, and these are on YouTube for God's sakes.
This one is funny.
Do you guys want to hear a dad
Oh
joke?
wait, it's not showing. Wait, where are we?
We're the ones with. There you go.
Here we go. Okay.
Do you guys want to hear a dad joke? You're gonna love it. I shit you not.
What the fuck, dude? Oh my god! Oh my god! I got red bad! Oh,
It's alive! Get it out of me.
Get
what
it out
the
of
fuck
me.
is happening?
God! Oh god!
You gotta help me!
I can't. I'm all tied up.
Oh man.
Anyway, check out Cracker Milk if you want to see more of their stuff. They're very funny.
Yeah, they are really funny. I didn't continue to see other ones, but those
No,
are good.
they're great.
I don't think you shared it before.
Maybe I definitely have sent a bunch to my friends because they're always like under a minute long, and they're really clever.
Which is
They have a
great.
whole
I like that.
lore behind their videos too. There's some really really funny ones, but you need context for them to be super funny.
Right.
Anyway,
So cool. I mean, this is our 50th episode. That's why we did it live. I don't know if we're gonna do this all the time, but we have some people come in and out, and we'll see how it does. With the algorithm, exactly. And we are growing, which is great to see. We're growing on YouTube. We're growing on all the podcast platforms. With traffic, we're seeing a lot more traffic than usual, which is great.
and please, if you do stop by, leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to hear, what you want us to talk about. If we can improve the show in any way, we take everything into consideration here. So,
Right. And I think today we were on Twitter and YouTube live. So we had some of our Twitter friends show up, it looks like, which is cool. They came in and out. Nice to see them. Again, thank you to all of our listeners and followers. It really helps us every week, knowing that the show is growing and there's lots of interest out there, which there should be. The mysteries of the universe, corruption of government, which needs to end. we need to show support to Grush and people like Dan Sheehan and Steve Bassett and all those, right? All those out there that are pushing for this and fighting for this, and contact your representatives. There's nothing more important than this issue when it comes to. I don't care what your beliefs are, whether it's climate change, whether it's government corruption, whether it's the economy, whatever it is. This fits the mold.
Right, because the basis of what they're fighting for isn't about it is about UFOs and UAPs and that stuff, but what it truly is at its base level is government transparency. We want to know what our government is doing, what they're spending money on, what they're telling us, if they're doing something else on the side. We want to know that, and we should know that. Everyone take this to heart. The government is not our boss. We're their boss.
Yep.
That's the way it was designed. They work for us.
Right. That's why we're the new world. That's why we were so successful in the past. And you can track the failure of the United States with basically corruption and secrecy. You can track it. When we were an open society, when we were a freer society, we were a much more prosperous society. And then when we started making everything secret, we started losing that, and you can just see the decline. So we should just end it, go back to what we were designed to, which is freedom, transparency. Yes, I'm not saying let our adversaries know, our enemies know what we're doing, but you can't classify reality. You just can't.
Right.
Let the people know we're grown-ups. We can deal with it.
Okay, so real quick in Topher's Media Corner, what was the thing that I said earlier to remind me to bring that up?
Moon.
Yeah, go watch Moon. That's a great movie. And we didn't spoil anything here. It's about a guy who has a job on the moon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have fun figuring it out.
It's really well acted. Sam Rockwell is fantastic in almost everything he does. Well, I'd say everything he does. I haven't seen
everything he does. Yeah,
I haven't seen him put in a bad thing ever. So
me neither.
For books, I brought this up a few weeks ago, and I forgot to bring it up last week when I was blabbering on the Area 51 books by Bob Mayer. He was going by Robert Doherty. That was his writing pseudonym. So you can find him either Robert Doherty, but most likely Bob Mayer. And his Area 51 books, there's about, 12, 13 of them, but they're easy, quick reads. Or listen into the whole audiobook thing. And it's great. He ties in all the conspiracies, all the conspiracies into one overarching fantastic story. Atlantis, Excalibur, UFOs, those glowing balls of gold that Foo Fighters, that's the one I was looking for.
Yeah, Foo Fighters.
The Holy Grail, the pyramids, the Sphinx. I mean, he ties it all together in a really cool narrative. I think like the main story has like 9 or 10 books, and the other ones are offshoots, but they all tie into the main story really neatly. Very cool. I think the whole reason I got into him when I was like 13 or 14, my mom knew I had an interest in UFOs. I think and she bought the first one, and I was obsessed. And I, at one point, had them all. They're probably still sitting in a trunk somewhere. They're great. So look into that. And cuz I know you would like them a lot too.
All right. I mean, these days I just do Audible books, so yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do it that way.
Check out the first one and the second one, and let's see if it catches your interest. I found a new podcast called the UFO Rabbit Hole Podcast with Kelly.
Oh
Cho.
yeah, I've heard about that. She's really good.
Yeah, and she breaks. She's basically going from start to finish of all the UFO stuff that's come out, and she seems really level-headed. The first episode's a good intro, and it's short too. Just 30 minutes long. Let's check it out. See if that's something you'd be interested in. I feel like it's
I see her recommended a lot. People say if you want to start somewhere, start here. That kind of thing. So
yeah, it's really good. If you have an interest in UFOs and aliens, it's a really good entry level. Just so you have a lay of the land of everything that's going on. And then, of course, shout out to the Y-Files. This episode, of the Book of Enoch this week was phenomenal.
That was fun.
Shout out to the Hecklefish. We love you, buddy.
And AJ did great too with that one.
Of course, shout out to AJ.
But Hecklefish is our favorite
every week, and yeah, we love Hecklefish here.
I saw 70,000 people in the live. I was like, "What the hell is this? What do you mean 70,000 people? Is this guy like the holy grail of like of a podcast?" I don't think anyone gets that. Does anyone get 70,000 concurrent watches? I was shocked seeing that.
Yeah, he's blown up, and for good reason. I mean, the guy He comes in well researched, also level headed. He breaks down everything that's going on, and then he goes to the end and says, okay, you know, like this I don't think was real because of this reason. This research has proven otherwise, you know, stuff like that. And
you know what's weird though, just to think about that, because he does like he likes debunking too, right? Like not debunk, but say, oh, it's not true. But it's weird because he brought up the Dead Sea Scrolls, didn't he?
Yeah,
those were proven to be fake, at least by the Smithsonian.
Were they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I use that a lot too. I've been using them for a while, saying that it's fake, and I use the Smithsonian website. So if you just Google it, and they'll say like 90% or 98% are fake.
Interesting. Anyway.
But the Book of Enoch is still a real book. It's not just from there. I mean, they found the Book of Enoch in other areas also. It's not just from that find.
Right. Yeah, it was first found in Ethiopia, I think is what he said.
Right, exactly. So, and it is, people go watch it, but it's amazing because Enoch, he's one of the first ones that, you know, let's put quote unquote here, God brought up a human. Like Jesus was the second one, you know, but also Enoch he did not die. His body got brought up to God, just how supposedly Jesus's body was also brought up to God. So he's one of those humans that never died, but he tells humans how to get to heaven. And so, you know, it's there's different interpretations of it, but it's basically how to traverse this space or whatever, right, to go past the gates to get to God.
It was a very, because I had knowledge of the Book of Enoch and just kind of a general, you know, what it was about, but he dove into it really cool. Other subjects he talks about, you know, the Ark of the Covenant. No, I mean not the Noah's Ark. I'm sorry,
Noah's Ark. Yeah, he talks about that. Yeah, of course, because that's in there, and the Sumerians, and I mean it's all intertwined.
Yeah,
it's intertwined with this subject.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But we definitely have talked long enough. We want to thank you all so much for listening to UAP, where you find all of your weekly conspiracy news.
Yes, awesome. And yeah, follow us on Twitter at UAP the podcast. We're on YouTube at Uncovering Anomalies Podcast, on Rumble at UAP Podcast, and all major podcasting platforms. Spotify, Apple, Google, any of them. Yeah.
You can find us anywhere at this point.
Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere. Exactly. So give us a follow, share, you know, like us, give us some feedback, support us if you can. That'd be great too, you know.
Absolutely.
Give us a tap on the shoulder, you know.
Yeah, just a little pat on the back there.
Pat on the back, exactly.
All right, that is I Want to Believe Adam. I am Tippity Toppity Topher live, and we will see you all next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.